Let's play a game. Stick out your right hand and start tracing circles. Good. Now stick out your left hand and start tracing squares. Pretty simple, isn't it? Now, try to do both at the same time. Simultaneously, trace circles with your right hand and squares with your left. There's only 2 rules. Your hands have to be moving at all times, and you can't draw the same shape more than twice in a row. I'll give you a few seconds to test this out. Come on, let's see who can draw the most shapes. Now, I can tell, looking at some of your faces, that you're probably thinking that it's impossible to beat this game. And I'll let you in on a secret. You're right. Unless you're one of the few people whose left and right brain are completely separated, it's very difficult to accomplish this task. But there is a way to beat the game. The key is to bring your hands together like this and alternate between tracing circles and squares without stopping your hands. And while it may seem like a trick, it doesn't break any of the 2 rules. So, what did we do here? Instead of looking at circles and squares as 2 separate entities, we brought them together and were able to accomplish the overarching goal more effectively. Well, what if we were to approach humanitarianism with the same perspective? Something I've learned in my 17 years of being on this planet is that humans are indeed an altruistic species. I mean, people genuinely want to help others. And if I gave you a choice between helping a person and not helping a person, of course you'd pick the first option. But the problem is that life isn't so simple. What if I told you that it would cost you 10 hours of your time and 10,000 of your dollars to help that person? In other words, what if I told you that you would have to throw in the square of philanthropy into the busy circle that is your life? The choice isn't so simple now, is it? And I completely agree with you. You know, as a junior in high school, I'm working 14, 16 hours a day, and like many people, I used to think that I didn't have the time or money to make a real impact. So what changed? And how can we make a real impact and be humanitarian within the time and money constraints that we have? Well, exactly like how we brought our hands together to beat the shape game, the key is to make humanitarianism a part of your daily decision-making processes by making conscious decisions that impact and support your values with your money. Today I'll give you a framework that I employ and that you can employ to change the world one step at a time as a buyer and as a part owner. So, first let's talk about what I mean by buyer. Did you know that the average American purchases 700 different products a year? That right there is 700 opportunities to make a difference. I mean, let's take a look at clothing, for example. Whether it be my t-shirt, my vest, my pants, or even my socks. With every article of clothing I purchase, I become a part of the fashion industry, like contributing to the industry's need to produce more goods, and in doing so, impact the planet. But the problem is that the fashion industry actually produces more waste than all the planes and boats in the world combined. Now, I'm not necessarily saying here that you should stop buying clothes altogether. I mean, we've all accidentally shown up to a meeting wearing a pair of socks that look like this. And if you need a pair of new socks, then you need a pair of new socks. But what you can change is the company that you buy your socks from. Let's take a look at 3 companies, for example. Company A produces its socks in a sweatshop in Asia and pays its workers less than $1 an hour. Company B burns or throws away 10 tons of clothing every single year in order to maintain exclusivity. And Company C, on the other hand, produces its socks sustainably and donates one pair of socks for every pair of socks that it sells. And by consciously choosing to purchase from Company C, you too can change the world. And here's how. For every business that Company A and Company B lose to Company C, they'll start to wonder, why? And if enough people like you and me purchase from Company C, eventually Company A and Company B will start to refine their own business practices to make them more sustainable and give back to the community in that manner to attract new customers. And if you're thinking that Company C sounds too good to be true, it does indeed exist. It's called Bombas. And purchasing my sock from Bombas is my way of changing the world. And to this date, Bombas has donated over 50 million articles of clothing to those in need. And because of sustainably minded customers like myself, who've been purchasing from pioneers in the industry like Bombas, over the past 10 years, the sustainable fashion industry has grown by 300%. And even big brands and clothing makers have started to take notice and launch their own sustainable lines. So, the next time you're at the store, take a minute to add social impact to your shopping cart by consciously making decisions that support your values as a buyer. Now let's take a minute to talk about how you can emulate this process, but as an owner. A couple months ago, I was reading the food section of the Guinness Book of World Records, and I stumbled upon an image of the 60-foot-long world's largest pizza. And as I was hungrily staring at the image, I thought to myself, what did the chef do with the pizza after taking a picture of it? I mean, clearly it was too big for him to eat by himself. And then it dawned on me. He cut it up into smaller slices and gave it away to people like you and me. Well, in today's world, we do the same with large national companies. I mean, when many people think of investing, they're either intimidated by the financial terminology or think that they don't have enough money or time to get started. But with modern trading platforms, with as little as $5, you too can become a part owner in $1 billion company. And if that's not cool enough to convince you to start investing, wait until I tell you about impact investing. Impact investing is a form of socially responsible investing that prioritizes the impact that the company has on the planet, the environment, and its shareholders, alongside the financial returns that it generates, like any investment. Now, earlier I was talking to you about how I purchase my socks from Bombas. Well, like any person, I need multiple pairs of socks. And one pair that Bombas unfortunately doesn't make is soccer socks. So I purchased those from Adidas. And a couple months ago, besides from purchasing a share in the company, besides from purchasing socks from Adidas, I also purchased half a share in the company. And along with giving me a voluptuous 30% return on my investment, Adidas has made a direct impact on my life and my community by helping clean up part of my town's shoreline through its Run for the Oceans initiative. Adidas has also cleaned up tons of oceanic waste and repurposed it into 17 million pairs of shoes, and also leads the industry in sustainability by taking away plastic from all of its stores and office buildings. And guess how Adidas got the money to fund these amazing initiatives? Partly from part owners and investors like myself, who chose to support the company by investing in it. And that right there is the key to making an impact as an owner. By becoming an investor in a company that supports your values and has a positive impact on the planet, you too can be a catalyst for that change and give back to your community by fueling the company's positive growth. Think of impact investing like giving money to a charity that uses part of your money to do good in the world and gives you your money back and more after using it. So the next time you're looking for a way to grow your wallet, just remember that the best investments are those that give back to your wallet and those in need by bringing together the circle of social impact and the square of profitability. Now today I told you about how I changed the world with my socks. We talked about how I changed it as a buyer from a sock company that helps those in need, and as a part owner in a company that sells a lot of socks and has a positive impact on the planet by leading the industry's sustainability revolution. And the best part is that this doesn't just apply to socks. With as little as $5 and with one step as a buyer or as a part owner, you too can make a difference by purchasing from or investing in a toaster, t-shirt, automobile, or phone company. The possibilities to make a difference are endless. So the next time you think about philanthropy and humanitarianism, don't think about it like a square that you have to throw into the busy circle that is your life. And the next time you pull out your credit card, take a minute to think about the impact that your purchases and investments have on the planet. And just remember that your socks can indeed change the world.